actually Burger King's Hungry Jacks and Blur song parodies. Will anyone get this? No. To the tune of Tracy Jacks, obviously, because, you know, everybody knows their mid-career Blur albums.
I get it.
Did you actually?
No. We rented a car yesterday, partly because we needed a car seat to get out to the Healesville Sanctuary, but also so that today we could go on an day trip. And so we are doing so. Down the coast, round to the tip of the bay, to a place we've heard of called Sorrento.
Penelope?
Time to get up.
She just woke up because we stopped the car.
No. 2 hours later, because screw you Google, we're taking the scenic route. We are in Sorrento, which, as I said, is on the very tipmost end of the
Mornington Peninsula.
Thank you, the Mornington Peninsula, which is what forms half of the bay around which Melbourne and most of its suburbs exist. It's very pretty here. It's very, very beachside resort town, but it's super pretty. We had lunch here at Baked in Sorrento, and it was very good. I had a meat pie with cheese and cauliflower.
I had a meat pie with beef and onion.
Yes, and then we had a lemon thing.
That was also
and
good.
Lattes, and they were tasty. And there was this staff member who works here who's a fan of Friday nights, and that was cool.
Yeah.
So hello, friend. And now I don't know what we're doing.
I guess we're walking around. I was gonna go to the beach, but suddenly it's gone very cold, windy.
Well, windy, but not necessarily cold. Whatever, let's go down there anyway. Maybe it'll turn back. I don't think the Aussie scoop is structurally sound. It looks like it's going to slip apart at any moment. So it's super windy, but it's still warm.
The sun's gone away.
Yeah, but the plan, oh look, a ramp. The plan is to find a place to change, put the camera away because the microphone is not handling the wind well, and go into the water. Let's try it. Alright, I'm gonna see what this building is up over this sand dune here. It looks like bathrooms. I can't get in that way. Let's go this way. Oh yeah. Bathrooms. Great, this works. The toilets are closed. May to October. The nearest open toilet facilities are 100 meters that way. Why? No. Well, they look open, so. On Kathleen's suggestion, I'm wearing shorts, which is also fun. Man, the sand's really kicking up. This is fine. Everything's fine. .jpg. At home, this would look like a storm. And maybe it's a storm here. But it still doesn't, it still feels nice. All the locals are getting out of the water, but it's one of those sort of like, well, we've come this far kind of scenarios, so someone's getting in the water. Oh, that microphone just ripped itself off the camera. This is all going swimmingly. So how was that?
Well, I went through the great effort and rigmarole of getting Penelope into her bathing suit.
Yep.
And then I sat her down on the beach, and she started to cry hysterically.
Yeah.
So I picked her back up, and now she's out of her bathing suit.
Yeah, so, you know, a good day to the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does not appear to like the beach.
Not under high wind, anyway.
Well, we'll try again in St. Kilda, and if she hates it again, then it's not, you know...
Yeah.
It's not that bad out.
Also, there's just sand coming into the bathrooms.
I feel like Canadians would still be at the beach in weather like this.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so while that's not classically what you would call a success, if we're going on the metric of have Penelope interact with the ocean, then that much we achieved. She was definitely touching the water for a measurable length of time. So, given that, success! It's very windy now. You won't be able to hear any of the sound. Oh God. Very windy. And wet. I don't even know where the microphone is. I'm trying to protect it with my hand. We did manage to spend a little longer in sort of the Sorrento Main Street, I guess. But the weather is only getting worse.
Yeah, and all the shops are not closing.
And all the shops are closing because everything closes at like 4, and so we're heading back to the car. Now, we're still going to nip out to the end of the peninsula.
Well, I mean, we could go for a walk, but I think it'll be really gross. Is the problem.
Well, not necessarily a walk, just to see it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
But first, this elevator. We slathered ourselves with sunscreen when we got here.
We didn't need it at all.
Well, I guess we didn't need it. Thanks, Sorrento. It was a fun day, if windy. Oh boy. Okay. Now driving again. Let's go. So you can see the gate over there. That's how to get vehicles in and out of Fort Nepean Historical Park. And vehicle access closes 15 minutes ago at 5 p.m. because everything closes really early in Australia for some reason. And pedestrian access, 24 hours, but to get from here to Fort Nepean on foot is like an hour. And we have a baby, and then we have to come back for another hour. So we're not doing that. So instead we're just letting Penelope run off some steam in the parking lot before we head back to Melbourne. Fort Nepean was the site of quarantine when people were first arriving in this part of Australia, because Sorrento was the earliest settlement in this area. But that's not for cars to know after 5 p.m. So here's a fun thing about going on a trip with the right mindset. We basically failed at everything we set out to do today.
Correct.
We didn't go swimming in the ocean.
Nope.
The weather is fuck awful, so we barely walked around Sorrento. We didn't get to go to Fort Nepean, which I was really looking forward to. And still, we had a fun day.
Yeah, and I note Fort Nepean closes quite early. It closes at 5. There's been people driving out here the whole time that we've been parked here being like, well, crumbs. You know what?
So, next time we come to Australia, I don't know when that's going to be, but
well, remember that things tend to close. Like in this touristy town on a spring day of a long weekend, stuff was closing at like 4.
And yeah, it's Sunday, and I get that. But it's a long weekend. The night before the Melbourne Cup, a literal parrot just flew by.
I love Australia.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, exactly. And everything's shutting down at 4 and like pulling their tables inside. That was my reaction, Penelope. I agree with you completely. Alright, well, we're at Woolworths Lincoln Provisions now. Alright, so we definitely bought more food than we'd planned to, but it's hard to avoid when everything's different. And you just see all this stuff and you're like, I want to try that. That looks interesting and neat. Including the chocolate bars that we didn't do for the chocolate bar review for Loading Ready Live. That some of the Australians were like, why didn't you do this bar? So we got a peppermint crisp and a twist. Observation. Everything here is really casual. Yeah. And even the news. There was a story about garbage men finding evidence relating to a murder.
Which is like, whoa!
Grizzly in the garbage, and the newscaster was like, a couple garbos found him, and it was like, what? Garbos? Oh, garbage men. Oh. And you got your ambos for ambulance drivers, and fireys for firemen. We even saw yesterday on the way to the Healesville place, there was interpretive signage referring to the historical town of Healesville and the loggers who used to work there. On the signage it said Logos. The Logos. The traditionally this town square is where the Logos would gather for a smoke. It's like, okay, sweet, why not? Maybe have a glossary though. We are being absolutely buffeted around the street by the wind. This wind is not fucking around.
No.
So did you want to eat inside tonight? Because not only is this windy as hell, but it smells like the sea, and not the good kind of the sea.
It smells like...
It smells like the bad parts of the sea.
It's really cold.
It's wretched, actually. Alright, that door is staying shut tonight. Sorry, Penelope, no playing outside right now. Also because it's a balcony. Aussie Beer Review the second. This is from the Endeavour Vintage Beer Company, the Grower's Bright Ale. I don't know what a bright ale is, because it's just a pale ale. This is another pale ale disguised as something else. I like it better than the other one, but it is ultimately fine. It's fine. I'm not enamored so far, guys.
Once again, this beer is crisp, clean, and drinkable, but lacking in a complex flavor profile. However, it's not all up front, with no body behind it.
Yeah, it's fine. That's what I said. Yep, 3 things children love. Yokai Watch, Pokemon, and Roman Reigns. Banner, banner, banner. Banner, banner, banner.